Okay. As you can see, I've already I took the fairing off and stuff like that just to get us a little ahead of the game so we can get more done today. Another thing I did too is I took the connectors off the twist grip sensor, but I can show you how to do that real quick. You can actually try it too if you want. Best way to get in there for the little connectors is these little push pins. And actually with the twist grip sensor, you can see I filed that one down. It's really thin. You guys can try this too, that's why I brought this out. Basically, you just want to slide that in there. You can feel it catch a little bit. And then you just push till it catches, and you kind of just push up like that, then lightly pull. That'll come right out. You never want to force these because the connectors are so small that it'll break that little tab inside, and then you'll plug it back in and then it'll end up backing out. It might seem good when you leave, but then somewhere down the road it's going to back out. Everybody wants to try that. There you go. You just want to go down inside those holes there, just drag it. You'll feel just a little bit, and then just press and then pull a little bit later. Because pulling the wires through the bars, I like to have all the connectors off. It just gives you that little bit less to pull through. And I use these same for these guys also. But the kit that we use actually comes with replacement wires that are longer, which is nice. It's 2021 and up. You got to be careful. It used to be that these were the same, but as you can see on these two, the red and white ones there, then it's black and white, and on this one the red and white's on the outside. That just, if you got a 21, that's a new change on 21. We learned that the hard way. And I always cut. I mean, these are just going to be pulling through, so it's not a big deal, and those don't have. But even pulling the wires through, if I was going to pull these through, I would take these connectors off and I would cut these off too. But something on a Z like that could catch, and it makes your life a little difficult pulling it through. So we'll take all those off first. And what I do too when I take this off is the wires are the same color, but one of them is marked with blue tape. I'll just take a picture of it with my phone before I take it out of the connector, and then you can see where the wires go. But that's the main thing, that you want to keep that in the right spot.
Trevor, what do you need?
No, you can go right now. Thank you. Yeah, that takes a little bit of practice. That's the hard one. These aren't so bad. Getting these out of the connector, or this one here, these aren't so bad. You have a bigger hole. Those aren't, but that one does take a little bit of practice. It always seems like one of them fights you.
And it just needs glasses.
That'll help too. So we're going to get the switch housings off first. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take everything off the bars. I'm going to lay it here. I'm going to take this whole unit off, and we're going to actually replace the riser bushings with the propylene bushing. These are a lot heavier. Going up with A-painters or something like that, the stock ones will wear out a lot quicker. You've felt that, back and forth movement. It's just a good idea to do these. I have 16s on my bike. I've had these on in 4 years, and those still no good. And these are easy to install.
You guys want to try? You good?
Okay. If you have any questions, just ask me.
So I would recommend.
And I've already taken I sucked all the fluid out too. That was because I didn't have no air out here. You don't want that .4, get .4 anything on your paint or anything like that. You'll really eat it. It's really corrosive. All right, guys.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. I would definitely recommend that. I know that, like.
For the pre-wired unit
Yes,
that you
sir.
can order, are those as plug and play as they say?
I have put in one set of the pre-wired on, and I was very impressed. For fly-by-wire bikes with a twist grip sensor, they actually had a piece of wire already pulled through that you could connect that through, and it pulled right through. They were really nice. Not 100% what the brand was that I did, but I was impressed. Yep, they were plug and play except for that one sensor you had to put in.
And what if your bike doesn't have heated grips and you want to apply them while you're doing it?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother.
It adds a little bit, but you can do it. Yep, you can do it. The internal, some of them are, some heated grips aren't made to be internally wired. So you could either have the wire on the outside, which is your power wire, or it's a little more labor intensive. You can get it up inside there. It's just you got to grind a little bit here and here to bring it up inside. But it has been done. It can be done. But a lot of the bikes, like the Limiteds and stuff like that, come with heated grips. Those are all internally wired. They're made to be that way.
It ain't gonna be any cheaper or easier to do it while you're doing the bars than.
It's the time to do it, yeah, because you got to take everything back out. It's easier to pull all the wires through at one time instead of trying to fish it through a second.
And when you mean grind, you're talking the hole where it's in the bars already.
Well,
Like
the way
this hole here would have to be ground. A little
not that one. It's more because the wire is made to come out here, right here. So you got to grind a little bit on your switch pack. So you grind a little hole there to get it up into there, and so you can get it going that way. Right here. And the nice thing about the touring models, you can actually unplug these right here. Like the Dynas and stuff like that, and the Softails, it's hardwired, but the touring models are all, you can unplug them right here. You can just set this right aside. Then you can pull it through.
We'll have to take pictures.
Yep.
Watch a lot of YouTube.
I will work on it.
And different kits send you different things. Like the Harley kits, usually you get extensions, so they'll plug right in to these. So you got that set up. These here, this setup, it comes with actually pre-lengthened wires. Some of them, like LA choppers, they'll just send you extensions. You just solder them. A lot of them now, though, are coming either like that or you just plug them in, which is really nice. A lot of the times what I'll do is when I pull it through the bars, I'll take this, if I'm extending it with the plug-in, and I'll see how much I have. And if I have enough to pull it out there, I'll take these off and I'll pull it through and then put these back on. Just like I said, one side's easier than the other. The side that you got to pull a twist grip sensor, you're pulling a lot more through. So the less stuff you have, you know, causing restriction that could get caught, it's easier to have off. And on older motorcycles, like 2008 was the first year of the twist grip sensor. Up to 14, they had a plug, which would be right about here. It's a green plug. I recommend if you're doing bars, you're doing replace the twist grip sensor with the Screaming Eagle one. It gets rid of that plug. Because I've seen it where you're trying to pull through, especially before 14, before they went to the thinner wires. You had a lot of wires in and pulling through that will come disconnected. So you put the Screaming Eagle one, it's a solid cable. I think it was 14 they got rid of that plug.
Otherwise, that's what mine's at.
These to remove, just press up and get up underneath the screwdriver. There's a little tab. Just kind of pry it a little bit and it's like. In the new 21s, obviously they have the clutch cable. They've actually come out with an extension, which we'll be installing. So you don't have to actually replace the clutch cable. It extends it because now they have the, if anybody's seen these, now they have the auto adjuster. So it's not like the two nuts anymore and you just adjust it that way. You adjust it down at the bottom the same, but you got this little plastic piece. It's actually an auto adjustment. You take the plastic part off, and you can extend it. So you don't have to extend the whole cable. Now, you put slack in these. You just press on these little red tabs. That tab will come out. You just pull down on it. Then push it back in. And then I'll misadjust it there so we can put that cable, but that's how you get the slack.
You still have to do that on a 12 as well?
A 2012? No, because you got your 12. 12 you just adjust it the old style. Adjust it down there, then you adjust for your 3/8 or your 8 input. They went hydraulic in 2014, but a lot of people liked the mechanical clutch, so they went to this system. Which so far they've been really pretty good. Yeah, 2012, doing your bars, you're going to want to do the twist. I would recommend doing that twist grip sensor, the Screaming Eagle twist grip sensor, because you got a lot more. Is it an ultra classic?
It's a street glide.
Street glide. Yeah, you got a lot more wires to pull through too, compared to one of these. I had an 09 street glide, and that was the first set of bars that I did on a dresser like that with a twist grip sensor. Let's just say my parents, my dad and my mom, I did it at their garage, they had a good time watching me try to get the wires.
The language.
Pretty solid. Yeah.
Here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the easiest way I found to change the riser bushings on this style is to take this whole triple tree right off.
this a shop bike, Trevor, or is it customers?
No, this is brand new. Well, actually, this is a trade-in. It's got like 800 miles on it.
Oh, yeah.
2000 or 21.
So now it'll have a nice set of 8.
Yes, sir. Already ready to go.
Right.
Yeah.
What kind of bars are the ones you're putting on?
I think they're bagger. I'll have to look.
Fat bagger.
Fat bagger. That's it. Yep, that's it. I've never put one of these. They're a 2-piece.
Oh, really?
Marissa did a set a couple weeks ago, and she said they went on really nice. I don't think I brought a socket. Be right back. I gotta grab a socket.
Good. I saw
Okay.
it there.
There we go.
I was wondering if that was you.
Out of the way.
No. That's not you. Oh, no, for what? Yeah. So, so that's the new to me one for me. Yeah. Yes, it is. The old road came down that way. So, yeah. Something you've been working on? Well, so it's just right.
When you put those back in, do they have to be torqued in a certain?
Yep. Yes, sir.
And, the last couple of years, I've only done it like 1,000 miles. So, 2013. You're right.
Stock torque on these is like 30. I go heavier with 8 hangers. I'll go up to like 45 just to give it a little bit more. Of course.
What made me think of it is my granddaughter was like, why does it say GAC?
Used to do these like you can do it that way too. You can do it on the ground. Get up there with like a 3/4 socket without taking this all the way on. I found this is way easier than trying to fight to get up there with a wobble extension and get it. And then getting them back on, lining the screw up. I found this way just a lot easier. Then you can take it all off, go to your bench and do what you gotta do. Plus having go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna say, plus having this all together and not taking it off, it's easier to keep the bars straight when you go back together because everything's clamped like that, and then it's easier to get them to stay straight. I'm gonna take.
Now to put those clamps back down on the forks, is there like a ring there that stops it to know what? It's not like when you set these back down and when you take those off. Is it?
Yeah. No, this as long as this is sitting nice and flush, you can. It'll go on straight.
Okay.
I'll show you when I go back on. Or you can take a. But you're gonna see. You can mark it if you want. Sometimes I measure it, but you can see that it's straight. If I was taking the forks off, I was measuring, but. Out of the way. Don't want to lose this screw. I lost it yesterday. Now this, I wiggle it. It comes right. It should come. And I take this off too. Main reasons because I got this flipped out. And it's just something out. If that gets hit wonky, the ignition, it end up breaking this. So I take that off just to get it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Come right off.
What?
Just way easier to take that extra little step, take it off, being like this, than trying to get up there. It's not.
Looks like it'd be a lot easier.
Yeah, it's not because you got being on, especially if you're on a bench, you can't get to it. You got this plate, you can't even get to them. You got to turn them. And this is just way easier. A lot faster. Exactly. Yep. 14s and above, you just throw them away. You get new bolts. There's these caps.
Is that because of the path?
They're a little bit longer.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit longer. If this is a 14, I mean a 13 and below, and I was reusing those, I'd put a little Loctite on them, red Loctite.
Yeah.
Even though this has the patch, I still put a drop of red Loctite on it.
Thank you.
These sometimes you can just get them prime right out with your hand. But look at the difference between these and the neoprene. I mean, there's a sleeve in there, but still.
Oh, yeah.
These work good for stock bars, but anything you start going up and they'll wear out wicked quick. These will go in pretty nice. I always put a little bit of sulfite on them just to help them out a little bit. They're going pretty good.
Right.
There you go. Page on the website. Right.
Just the lips in here if they're a little tight. Sometimes they go in tight, sometimes they go in nice.
Yeah. But there's no way for you to
And then I have to do
See the difference.
Yeah.
Went right in. Nice. Said I still put a little drop of red Loctite on them. I don't think it hurts anything.
years ago.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have much sticking out, but once they tighten and everything swishes down, you'll have more. Yep. Imagine trying to get this lined up and you got this much thread showing, you know. You can't see it either. This is just a weight lot easier.
Reaching up there trying to get it.
Yeah.
A lot of swearing.
How are you, my
friend? Good to see you.
See you.
What do you have to?
Well, just, you're looking,
There you go.
not like a buy-in, but.
You want to do a take break outside with donuts?
Sure. Up for that. I like donuts.
There you go.
It's all good right now.
Oh, I see your favorite out now. We're waiting for him, man. We're waiting for him.
I like to torque them so that I know, because if you over tighten them, it's going to squish them out more than they need to be. Yeah.
And you said those are at 32?
Yeah, I put these at 40. The stock was 32. I go a little heavier on these. And I bring them down a little bit, you know.
Imagine tightening one of those and on the other one.
There we go. Out of the way. Sometimes this can be a little funky when that's on. Maybe today we'll have a good year.
Just like that.
Just like that.
It almost fits.
It almost fits. No hammer. That's half the fun is using the hammer, right? You can see that's nice and flush.
Yep.
And it's even. So I'll torque these. This is 26 in the front, and then it's 20 on the back. Yeah, that went on nice. I can't take credit for figuring that out. Another tech here, Dan, came up with this to do that. Remember the first couple times I was like, man, I don't know if this is any easier. It's a lot easier.
What exactly did you do different?
Well, without taking this off, doing it on the floor, and you got to turn everything and try to get up in there.
And this is much safer having it locked into it.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I have two of these in my trailer. They're the greatest thing. Probably a lot not as good as the Connors, old Connor ones.
Yeah, this is actually Marissa. She brought it in. She got it off Amazon for like $70.
You can get them at Harbor Freight for $70.
Huh. Wicked. I think I'm gonna end up getting one for the garage.
It's just handy.
It looks like it worked. It's
I
solid.
bought 2 of them from
Yeah, I put my Street Glide in the trailer, and the only difference is I tie the rear wheel down just because it bounces in the trailer.
Yeah.
They don't. And what's nice is you drive your bike in, you get off it.
Yeah.
It doesn't tip. You don't have to. It doesn't take 2 people to. Actually, my wife drove my Street Glide into mine. She can't get it out, which is good. She can get it in.
In my case, that would be a good thing.
My wife has her license, but she hasn't got one. The only difference is I don't tie it to that in the trailer. I tie it to an E-track.
Oh, we got the handlebar.
It's screwed in. Well, yours can't go anywhere in your trailer.
Yeah.
$70 versus what are the old Connors? They're like 200 and something.
Condors.
Condors. Yeah.
Condors. I think you got the biker bar, but I don't quite understand those.
Oh, the ones where you got to lock in your frame. And
Yeah.
Now this is a good time to make sure that everything's straight. You know, that your risers are straight. And what I usually do is I'll sit on the bike and I look across here and make sure everything's even. And those are nice and even because it's a pain in the neck. You get everything back together and
Have it one.
yeah. Especially on the fairing bikes, you'll get, sometimes the fairing won't go on because it'll hit. But these are nice and even across, so I know that these are nice and straight, so I know those are gonna be. Once I get those on and torque down, I'll check again, but it should stay the same.
And if that's the case, the only way you can adjust it is to loosen up those
Loosen a little
bushings.
bit down here, you go. Sometimes too, like because these are 2-piece, you can loosen these a little bit and you can tighten this one. And then tighten this one, you know, do a cross, and if it's just a little bit, that can. And you can, you know what I mean, just loosen these and give it a little. A lot of the times, if you do it the way I just did and everything, this doesn't move, it's straight. Ground back on.
Is that one of the reasons why you do what you do versus doing the bars out here? You leave the bars on to.
That's why I leave the bars on, yep.
Yep.
But it's just, like I said, so much easier to bring it to the bench than trying to balance everything. And for me, being on a bench out there, I have to take it off the bench and be able to turn the front tire. Or the way I used to do is I'd actually just take the front tire off so then I can move it. Then you can look underneath and everything. This is way better.
Oh, she's trouble, for sure.
You didn't change the clamp size for the new ones?
Nope, you'll be able to use this. A lot of the bars,
Do they neck down to one in the middle?
you got a screw. It screws together. Yep. There's a little Allen screw that screws them together. A lot of the times, if the bars need a new clamp, they'll come.
I was born with the name, I'm gonna die with the name, so I might as well do it.
Okay. So now I'll just take these bars off and we're done with them. This is a good time too. You used to be able to get these off pretty good, but I don't know what they're using for glue nowadays. Very. No, maybe I'm just feeling strong today. I had a good breakfast. Sometimes you squirt a little bit of that shop salt, it'll eat the glue.
Wait till it's really hot.
Yeah. Usually I can twist them right off, but they use a different glue now. Spray some of this, sometimes it eats it. Yeah, if you're doing all this, I'd put new grips on it.
Yeah, mine's been done 3 times. They come in and it's loose, and they.
That's the first thing to do.
What I use on them, those grips there, is Gorilla Glue. You got to use it really, really thin because it grows. Gorilla Glue expands, so if you use too much, it'll drip out here. With just a little bit of Gorilla Glue, put it around the lip right here, then slide it on. Yeah.
Would you wet it a little bit?
No, I just put a very little bit right around here, so when I slide it on there, it actually pushes it back. Because I have put too much before, and it starts bubbling out here. My father-in-law bought grips years ago, and that's what he went to the store and bought that. That's what he used, and he gave it to me, and I've used that same stuff with that same too. We'll take these right off now. We're done with these bars.
Oh, that's the last night. I think you on the phone. I never got my message till 8 o'clock this morning. He was going ice fishing. I'm like, good luck with it.
Road glides are pinned. The newer road glides, I think it's 15 and up. Road glides got pins in them. The bars are actually the lower mount has a pin up through, and the bars have a little slot, so you can only move them so far. If you do a road glide and end up buying a set of bars that doesn't have that, or you want to move them more, you can knock that pin, take it out with a brass hammer or something. That pin will come out. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. You cannot get the pin out.
So you cannot get the pin out completely?
Yeah, that's it.
Maybe.
Pins and clamps.
Yeah, it's right. I'll show you right where it is. These might even have the hole that you would.
Road glide bars are a little easier to do, right?
I like doing the street glide because I can get all this stuff out. Road glide, you got to take this, the little covers out of the side and everything. That's the only thing. I feel you have more room to hide stuff in here. Like if the wire, you know what I mean, you can bring the wires around different. Road glide, you just have that console.
Right.
Yeah. In the street glide, you take the fairing completely off, the headlight assembly, everything.
It's so easy that I do that. Yours is a 2012.
Yeah.
A little more.
Well, of course, mine's got the new inner fairing because I changed it to a Sony 7000 touchscreen.
Well, so you have a newer style fairing, so you might be able to take it right off like these. The 14 and up are really easy. The 13 and below, what I would do is I would take this console off, this one here, take the outer fairing out, and I would just slide the radio out. And usually you can get to these clamps pretty good. You ain't gonna be able to do this like I did. You'd have to go up, but it's not so bad. No, this one don't. Road glides, you'd have a pin right there. Like a little brass pin. You can just knock it right down. Yep. They actually have them on the switch housings too. You can only move them so much on the switch housings. But you can get new clamps if you want to move those. And a lot of the bars that don't have the holes will come with new clamps. So we're done with these. Okay, so next would be pulling the wires through. Which sometimes can be fun, sometimes it can be not so fun. So the double one right hand. And this one here, you'd probably be able to pull it through with this. But once again, I like taking them completely off. So I'm going to do that. It's just the opposite. Same thing, I use these push pins. You don't have to file these down with these. These are pretty easy. These come out nice.
No, he made that look too easy.
I know.
But when you go back together, you always want to feel them kind of lock and give them a little tug. Because I have seen bikes come in, the bars have been done, and something, it won't power up. And usually it's just one of these wires backed out. It wasn't locked all the way in.
For your left blinker, your horn.
Hopefully,
It's not the starter
you've seen
button.
that.
You can do that, you want your start button to be different, but no, you're the only one that knows to start your bike.
That's a good idea. It's good security.
I could do that, right?
We're doing one of our salesmen on Eric's bike motor this last summer. And we were thinking about wiring his horn to his brakes. So every time he hit his brake. I still wish we would have done that. I think that would have been funny. It wouldn't have been hard. So I just slide that up in there. A little electrical paint, secure. These are extended. Just a little tip. These are extended. If you were pulling like the stock ones through, then you were going to extend it because sometimes they'll stick out over here. Then you can extend it. Just make sure you don't put it all the way up in there because then you got to cut it. It's hard to get done it.
Congratulations.
Oh, I fell over it.
Good stuff for you, man. Definitely not.
Some kits, this kit actually does, I've never used it, but it'll come with a little thing of it. It almost looks like it probably is dish detergent. It's for a lube, to lube them to go up through. I've not had to use that yet, but. And sometimes too, this one I don't think is going to be bad, but if it gets tight and it stops, just push it in. You know, push a little bit, and it gets it off that corner. If it's a Z, because it'll get caught there. So just push it a little bit. But these are going to go right. Yeah, this is beautiful. Looks nice. But this is the easier of the two sides because you're not pulling through the twist grip sensor.
Pretty slick, right?
Yeah, these are nice. Marissa just put a set of these on. She said they went through that. A lot of the Harley bars pull through really nice. It's when you start getting really fancy right there, or have the double Z. If you got a Z there and a Z here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, good catch. I keep all these just in case. Okay, so that was the
I think that's the one you need.
Yeah, we'll put this in the bin.
Which one goes back on here?
So I'm gonna put that back on now. I'm gonna go off and
Alright, so 40-45 rifle. Okay. I guess that's pretty simple.
a lot of times I'll take pictures of these too, but
I was going to ask about the wiring order. Take a picture so you know which way they go.
yeah,
You've got the old one to match
Yeah.
because you're gonna have.
because of the one that's different now. They used to be exactly the same. So if you had one, you just went off the other. But even here, when you put that back, if I had the fairing on, you can see where they plug in. Even those are, they're exactly the same there, but on the other side there. They're like this. This one's red first. Remember the old days, you had to write every single one down. Now we got phones to take pictures.
Yep.
We used to have a tech here years ago when I first started. He could memorize them. Like he didn't even have to write it down. He had like that photographic memory. Me, I could do it 100 times. I still gotta write it down or take a picture. Cool. There's that one. We'll get this other one. Take these off.
That seems like that's going to be the hardest thing is getting the wires out.
These here are, like I said, a lot easier than that other one you guys tried.
As long as you don't get the Z bars.
And a lot of, like, this gentleman was asking about the pre-wired. You can get bars pre-wired.
Not the 12s.
I'm not sure. I'm not 100, probably not because those are hardwired. No.
Nope. Trust me.
The hardest part on a 12 is getting the side we're getting ready to do with the twist grip because it's a lot more wires. I recommend getting the Screaming Eagle
Oh,
one.
absolutely. I have no problem doing that.
Then you take all the conduit off it, take some electrical tape, and just tape them as small and as tight as you possibly can. Because there's a lot of extra wires. Even the other side, the switch housing side, do the same thing. Because there's a lot of, you got a bundle of wire like that, and then you're adding another bundle of wire like that, trying to pull through something like that, it's hard. Awesome. Cool. Another thing too that I've done is I've enlarged the area down here where you pull the wires through, because sometimes it'll only be a little hole like that, and you're trying to get both sides through that little hole. Enlarge that. And check this, usually this one up here is pretty good size. They're usually like that. But down here, when you got a hole about that size trying to pull both sides through on a 13 and older, it's a lot of wires.
Sounds like he wants to do mine.
You can bring them in and have them do a show on that too.
Yeah.
How to do an ultra bike?
I'll never forget that day I did mine at my parents' house. My grandfather came. The bike only had 100 and something miles on it. My grandfather comes out. My dad's like, "Look at him! He's already got this bike torn apart. It's brand new." It was a. Plus, my dad's really not one to talk. First thing he does too.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do that.
I'm sorry.
Take this one off too. All this is here is if you have heated grips.
Oh, that's your heated grip one.
Yep, because your heated grip on this side, you take this cover off. That's where it plugs in.
Oh.
So your grip, you'll pop the end of the grip off, and you're gonna have a little plug, a little 2-prong plug. It plugs into there, and that's where it gets its power.
Are you putting a set on?
No.
Does the Screaming Eagle one come with the heated grips, or can you order it with the heated power cord to it?
It has it. No, it has it on it.
Oh, it does. So
Yep.
it would be just like that.
Just
no.
like this. Yep. The only difference with the Screaming Eagle one, and if you buy it from these, they'll know anyway, is it comes with male connectors, and you need female connectors or vice versa. No, it comes with male connectors. You need these female connectors to go on there. I don't know why it's backwards like that from CVO but that's the way they did it.
So you'd have to get new clamps on.
Yeah,
those.
you got to crimp new connectors, which is great because I do that at the end. I pull it through
Right,
and then
absolutely.
do it. You don't have all that metal. Because if you solder, you can extend your wires. You don't necessarily, if you want to solder the wires, but if you do solder the wires, stagger your solders because you'll have a big old chunk of metal there trying to pull through.
But you can get the extensions too.
Yeah, I recommend getting extensions. They're all wired colors are
Yeah.
right.
it's not worth the aggravation. But if you're going with 12s, you don't necessarily need extensions, correct?
12s you might not. No, I think that's about
Max.
Yeah, you might not. Don't quote me, but you might not have to extend anything. Maybe your brake line, your clutch cable might be all right too. A lot of the times it's the bars.
Correct.
Some 14s are different than other 14s.
Grab one. Okay. We're gonna start the second one.
And what I'll do here too is I'll tuck these back, especially this side, just to give it, you know what I mean? So you're not grabbing. I think this is gonna pull through really nice. But I'll tape this too, just so that these don't get caught inside the thing I'm pulling it through.
You can lock them with the key here. Both sides are the same.
I think these bars it's gonna pull through really nice, but some bars you gotta take every precaution because I think the hardest ones I put on is like a lot of Yaffe bars. They're nice bars, but they're hard to. They got a lot of said the Z and everything. This one, I'll pull through here. Just get it started here. I'll grab my extension. I'm gonna feed this one up first. And doing bars, this is the part that's this is usually the most difficult. If you were running changing like brake lowers, changing these, and it was the other style where you were changing the actual brake line, not extending it like this kit does. I've never put one of these on. This is gonna be interesting. You're gonna have to pull the tank. I'd actually take the seat off and I swing the tank backwards. But I'm gonna run a separate line for each one of those back to your ABS unit. So these are a little more. That's labor intensive. It just takes a while.
But you can upgrade a couple more dollars.
These new clutches, because they separate, you either put the extension on, which we've done a lot with them, or you can actually buy longer, just the uppers. So you don't have to change it down to transmission side cover anymore. You just disconnect that and you can lengthen the top one, which is nice. Okay.
Gonna go over it, we'll say
Clean that up in there.
So,
Congratulations.
if I go back this way,
This one up in there.
take my key and lock
Yeah, when you say the fish tail, yeah.
Lots of tape.
Well, Greg, we're gonna put you on this thing called Pivot to Rock. So Pivot to Rock is kind of a fancy tool for a brief journey to the other department.
It's actually nice having half a bar and having now to
I bet.
mess with the whole.
And they'll be in the discussion. But before we get over there, we'll meet with the guys in motor floor, and we're gonna get you a free t-shirt, and like the and I want to say our go to safety riding. Following the service guys are, and we're gonna bring you up to speed on the service history.
I bet that's.
Alright, so now, that's great, we're ready for the first ride. Motor coach is ready.
Just slowly. Sometimes you gotta push a little bit. A lot of the times it's just until you get that around that corner, then it shoots right through. Getting around that corner.
I'm liking the style of those bars. Little color for me. Maybe we just let's take these home for yours.
Oh, it's a nice feeling once you get it to the other side. You know you're good.
It was a lot easier.
Yeah. You don't want that to happen when it's up on the side there. This is a little tight, so there's probably a good Z right there, but still not that bad. This ain't too bad. Beautiful. Just turn that to lock in. To me, that's the hardest part. I'm very impressed with these bars. It's actually nice having a half compared to having the whole thing. Anybody else plan on doing bars? You can have this. Anybody? You want it? I got a whole roll out back if you want. Let me know before you leave.
Besides, you think you're going to do 12s?
If you do LA choppers, you can't.
Larry's are 13s. I really want to.
Nice.
I remember Tony's. But we only said they were 14s, but we don't know. They could have been 12. I think 12 gets you right close to the film.
Probably will, yeah.
It doesn't go
They
above.
probably have the
Go right
ends
in the
on.
mirror.
Sometimes they come
Right,
with
so
the
you have
ends
to change
on,
the
mirrors.
or they'll have them already crimped, or they come with a package.
Tony's went over? Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
this might have been 14.
But do
What
the
I want to
twister
do is
first.
go over my mirrors.
Replace
And
Oh,
then
you don't have to.
get new
Yeah,
mirrors.
you're lucky.
You know where my mirrors are?
You're doing bars like
Tutors.
that. Good there. So I'm gonna put these together and we'll put them on there, and then I'll put the pins on. Get these situated.
So where you have the bars on the bike, is it pretty much preference, or is there a...
Sometimes the customer will want to come in to sit on it and put them where we want them. A lot of the times that I put them, I'll get on there, I'll put them straight, and then I'll just bring them back in, right about there, and they're usually happy with them right there. So it's just your arms aren't completely out, you just relax a little bit.
It must be harder to do the two of them separate to get them both straight across.
No, to be honest, this is the first time I put these on, but once you put that screw and you clamp it together, it's almost like it's one single bar.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And there's a screw on both sides.
No, just one. We'll do that right now. This is the screw.
Oh, okay, so they fit together.
And it's got the ridge where it kind of locks.
Oh, yeah.
So it becomes one.
The bar, yes.
Yeah.
I thought you put them on separately, so that would have been...
That's where I was like,
Yeah.
all right, this isn't right.
One to be this way, one to be this way.
I'm gonna go grab my blue Loctite. I want to
Yep.
put a little dab of Loctite on there.
I
Anybody need anything?
anybody
Coffee
do
or
a
anything?
gangster lean on the bar.
You guys want a break? Get a coffee or anything? You good?
We're
Oh,
good.
good.
be right back.
You take like those bars, those are 16s.
Yeah.
Those are 2
Okay.
And that's probably going to be torqued at a certain as well.
They didn't give me nothing with the bars. I looked for an actual sheet to see about that.
I think those is probably just to hold it together.
Yeah. I think because the way this is broken, or it's got the ridge,
It's just to hold it until you get it in the clamps.
Yeah.
and it gives it a better clamp load. Funny, kind of a cool story. When it came out of the V-rod, that's how you bolt your crank onto your camshafts. It's actually, they froze them and they broke them. And then when it goes back on, it gives it that rigid So it clamps a lot better.
It's a cool color and nice accent.
Instead of just having a flat surface, it was rigid, kind of like how this is here.
I like those.
These are nice bars. I'm really
These I do not.
Tiger Nation.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, fair weather.
And this whole kit is the same.
Now the wires come with the bar.
No, it was a separate kit ordered, but it's the same company, which I'm pretty impressed with too. It's nice to have them extended like that, not a plug-in where you have to try to pull the plug through at the same time or solder it, give it a pull. Yeah, these are pretty nice bars.
That is the HK.
I like the quality of it too. You know, it's a nice. It's nice.
There's a CD drive.
And they also come in chrome, I suspect.
I imagine. Yeah, and probably different. I think these are 14s.
All right.
I'm positive these are 14s.
Yeah. So beautiful. Do you stream these from your phone? No, but the CD player. CD player's a nice thing. That radio had
My problem's been trying to find the right height
Right?
bars to put on mine. I mean, I'm almost 70 years old, so I haven't really had a problem here before, but now after riding a couple hours, my
Right.
I've got a couple of buddies that have, the 12s or 14s, but I don't want to ride their bike.
I see.
So I don't know which ones I want.
Right. What do you have on yours now?
It's got the
Stock bars. Anything that's more. Once you start going above your shoulder, that's when it starts getting a little bit different. I got 16s on mine. I kind of wish I would have had 14s because I'm kind of like this, and I feel it actually up here. But I think 14s or 12s would probably be good. You're a lot taller, so I think 14s probably would be almost perfect.
Yeah, I'm 6'3", so
Right.
between those two, but I'd say I haven't driven one that's had either one.
pretty simple.
Well, we have.
How we just sit on one?
Yeah, you can sit on this afterwards. We have demo bikes, and sometimes we do have a set of bars on them. That'd be something in the spring. We could come down and demo just one with a set of bars. Maybe this one will still be here.
We had a buddy that had, we believe they were 14s, and what a difference versus the stock.
Oh yeah, they handle better.
The only difference I found was parking lots. You know, you got long arms, was a parking lot, the slow speeds. Was
Well,
only
that's another thing is, you think that, having that extra stretch that you would have less control.
It's more reach.
I mean, if you looked at it from a physical standpoint, it looks like you would have less movement than you did from a natural, your stock.
We got a friend that's got 100,000 on his road glide, and he just put 13s on it. You know, he's senior chief's 65, and it was a complete difference. Felt more comfortable. I mean, I'm sure they make all inches, I'm sure. And I don't even know what he did for bars.
I don't even know what he did for Barre either.
That's the way I think the bike
give it up.
handles
I
better.
have both my knees replaced. I keep having all these parts moved. It's like,
I think his were double Z, but he had holes in the side, so you can put through and push it around instead
Oh,
of.
nice.
Oh yeah, he had caps.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Caps on a Z. He had a cap that came off.
Probably down at the bottom, like right here. Cap.
Yep. There and right on top too, he had a cap.
Nice. That makes it a lot easier.
Of course, he's out riding today in Arizona.
Yep.
Nice.
KSG. Have you ever done KSG?
No, not that I know. I always try to make sure these are equal too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
It's strange on these two-piece bars. Is usually have a second piece. You can kind of go by it. Yeah. You don't want to pinch anything there either. Everything's moving good. Usually it comes out right here, but these two-piece, it kind of goes up into the clamp. It's kind of weird.
Oh yeah.
As long as you don't pinch anything.
Oh, they're offset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here, that's what all.
I mean, it's a finish, you know what I mean?
So.
Once again, I'll make sure everything looks nice and straight across here. That looks good. This is what I'll do. See, they're not 100% straight up, just kick back. This is a pretty good position right here.
Those look good.
Yeah, right there. I'm not like this.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, unless they're a lot bigger, a lot of the times that's what everybody likes. Get these snug now.
Things in there.
Those are nice bars, nice and wide.
They look beefy too.
Yeah.
I kind of like the style.
Crazy amount of pullback, which is more comfortable too.
Yeah. Yeah.
The wrist, as far as the wrist angle.
Yeah. Some people do put these on for, bring them back just a little bit more so they're more relaxed. But there is bars that don't go as high and they'll come back a little bit more too. You know what I mean? So you kind of like here.
But it is.
So to put on heated grips, obviously you run the wires through and it must connect underneath your seat somewhere.
Your
Right in the
your bike would be a little bit different. It would actually, it would go back. You have an accessory plug on yours, so you'll be able to power off your heated grips for that gear. It should come with a thing where you can go off your cigarette lighter. You'll actually branch off the back where that plugs in. You'll plug the heated grip wire, then it has two little tabs where you can power it up there. Off your headlight, there's going to be an orange and white wire. That's your accessory wire, so you can go off of that, your headlight plug. It'll have a ground and an orange and white wire there. Or you can bring it all the way back. Battery power for that one though, I use because you need battery and accessory. And your ground and your accessory go off the headlight plug, and your battery power go off cigarette lighter. So you don't have to bring it all the way back. This one, and then you'd have this same connector, not this one, but the one off the twist grip sensor. I'll put it back on. You'd have that same one there. So your wire, you'd pull for your twist grip or your heated grip on that side. It's gonna have a wire that goes into the bar. It's going to come down here, and that's where you plug that in. And then you'd have another wire, and if you didn't go internally wire, it'd be on the outside, or you can, like I said, grind that piece of the switch through and bring it through, and that's going to be your power to come out. But this here connects the two, so you can get that'll feed the power to there, then this will feed the power to here. That's fun plugging in. A little set of needle nose. But it's not too bad on a touring bike because all your stuff is here. If it was a Softail or a Dyna or something, you have to go all the way back.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so if you're going to do bars, you might as well do grips at the same time if you're going to get the bars off. That way you don't have to take them off again.
Or just spend the money and get heated gloves.
Yeah.
No.
Well, if it's kind of cool, it's like we leave it 50 or 55 degrees, you can have them on low or whatever, and then when it warms up, you can turn them off instead of having big clunky gloves.
Not just that. When you start getting them close to the fair, you're going to get more wind for sure.
Yeah, I put LEDs on mine on the front. Yeah, we talked about the idea of doing LED conversion from trenching to tail lamp. Yeah, also
So now, we'll put these on.
We did talk about that, yeah. No, they're in storage.
If you will, come on over to Park and Service, and I'll show you some info. This corner of the store back here is Park and Service.
We have two men?
No, it just came out. It just came out here.
How much play do you want on the wires up there? Do you want them fairly flush?
I like tucking them so they don't get pinched.
Yeah.
These work really nicely the way they design these. It goes up and around, and there's an actual little tab there that holds it up into the hole. It's just getting it. Just like that, it holds it up in there so it won't get pinched. As long as I don't have nothing hanging in there. This side we got I have to take that off. I'm interested. This is the. A lot of the times, I've never put one of these on, but with this kit, it comes with an extension. And you take it off your master cylinder and you hit it here, and then you put this to your master cylinder. So it's kind of so you don't have to run a whole new line. I've never put one of these on. It'll be interesting. See how that goes.
I usually tell people to change some of the stuff.
To be 100% honest, this might be one of the smoothest set of bars I've put on in a long time. These are nice.
Well, it's a good way to sell them.
Yeah.
If you have a pair of bars that you struggle with, it's like, I don't want those.
Yeah, these went on really nice. Very impressive. That's going to reach. Yeah, so that's a little too tight. I'm going to put it on just to have it on down. If these were 12, you probably wouldn't have to extend anything.
So if it is a super
I'm just going to put this on. If I was replacing the whole line, I would already took this off.
I thought there was a dog back there.
I didn't know what was going on.
Judy's basketball game. Give me something. I lied to you. It takes 4 hours.
I think the bars on my bike might have been one of the hardest set I've ever put on. I did them when we were shut down over Christmas. And I did them in my garage, so I'd pull a little bit through, get mad, go in the house. Come out the next day, pull a little through. It took me the whole week to pull wires through. No, that one, I haven't done nothing to that.
Or on your lowrider. Oh, you changed them down?
No, the ones that I haven't had on. I do have a set of bars kind of like this to go on that Roscoe gave me for my wife was laughing. She's like, I thought you said you weren't doing anything. I came home the second day, I had a set of bars.
It worked. Somebody gave them to me.
Yeah, they're free. I tell you. Came in the next day, they're sitting on my bed.
You're doing that, okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
When are you leaving there?
I'm leaving Vermont June 20th. It starts on the 26th in Rapid City, South Dakota.
It's what, 10,000 miles or something?
Yep. 10,000 miles.
Rapid City is a cool town.
Yeah, I've never been to South Dakota. I've
That's
never
awesome.
been to those top states. I've been to every one but those.
I've done 10,000 miles up there.
Nice. I can't
Seen
wait.
all of Montana. Seen most of North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming. Yellowstone. If you get out there, you want to see Yellowstone. Beartooth Pass.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, 10,947 feet. We got there like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like 70 miles up and over. And the guy's like, no, you're not. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's 36 degrees at the top. And you ain't got there yet. So we spent the night in Red Lodge and went up the next day.
Take care of that. Bye.
Chief Joseph's Pass is another cool
All right.
out there.
Your left directional is going to start moving. So right now, I want to hit my right direction.
How many days you have to do the hookup?
There's no time limit on how long. You can't do it faster than 10.
Faster than 10?
Yeah, if you do it faster than 10, you cross the finish line before 10 days, you get disqualified.
That's a lot of speeding, or
That's 1,000 miles, over 1,000 miles a day.
Yeah.
If you get caught speeding, you get disqualified. If you do it in 10 to 14, then you get an elite pass. Then to 30, it's just a finisher, and then anything after 30, they call it slow ass finisher. Which we had. We had a couple. There was a couple that wrecked on a trike. They got bandaged up in the hospital and they finished it. But they finished it.
Oh, wow.
We had a guy come through and it was funny. It was last June 26th, which was exactly a year before the next one. That came through. He hit a deer, so he didn't get to finish it. But then he got a new bike and he wanted to finish the route, so he did. I don't know if he gets a finishing thing for that. Maybe.
that's cool.
I've heard a story of one of them. It was all 48 states, and then 2 provinces in Canada. The guy got in an accident. And he finished it like 2 months later, and the whole hog chapter up there like escorted him into the finish line and stuff. Kind of cool story, you know. I kind of dig that a lot.
So you get a whole route that you have to do?
Yes, they give you.
In checkpoints that you have to?
Yeah, every 2,500 is a checkpoint, so they give you a set of directions from the start that brings you to the next 20, and you don't know where you. It'll be like take a left. Go 1.2 miles, take a left onto whatever route, and then you just follow that. You have to stick to that route because there's a GPS tracker on your bike, so they can watch you. If you break down and you got to go 100 miles out of your way to get fixed, you got to go back to where you, and vice versa. If you get lost, you went 100 miles out of your way, you got to go back. Yeah. Which is kind of neat. You can't use GPS. You use paper map.
Oh.
No hotels.
All tenting?
All tenting, yeah.
Next thing is.
I practiced. I had a set of directions from here to the end because we were the next to the last checkpoint, the last one. And I slept in a Walmart parking lot one night. Slept in a storage unit. They were building storage units. They were all open. I drove my bike right up in there. Slept in there one night. Slept in a church parking lot. That had like a picnic tables and an overhang. That was kind of neat. And then the last night I was up in the mountains in Georgia. And I slept, there's an old gas station with a couple of U-Hauls at the end of it. So I parked next to the U-Haul. That was amazing. I had clear skies.
Oh, nice.
It was cool. That was the hardest part, was getting used to finding somewhere to sleep. And I think that's going to, where you feel comfortable and you can actually sleep.
Boondocking it, or?
Yep.
Other than that, you are going to, you may or may not see a survey for pollination. Basically,
It was my first night. It was just right outside of Keene, New Hampshire. So I left here. I was supposed to leave on a Sunday, but it was when they were talking about that Hurricane Henry hitting. So I woke up that morning and I was like, maybe I should leave today. So I packed, serviced my bike and packed that day, and I got here about 1 o'clock because that's where the direction started. And it brought me from here to Bethel, Maine, up, was it 2 to Bethel, Maine, and then started working its way down. And it was like I spent the night just outside of Keene. It was like, I'm really not that far from home. You know? It took me 400 miles to get here.
Yeah.
It was neat. So this, I'm gonna have to go get some crush washers. This don't look like a bad deal. You bring this down here, then you just connect it. I guess you could put it any way.
So right away.
On a road glide, this might be a little bit more difficult because you just got that little console,
Yeah.
but on a street glide, it's ain't too bad. I'm gonna go get some crush washers. I'll bring it back. Cool.
Congratulations.
Any questions?
Yeah, absolutely. You too, buddy.
It doesn't necessarily have to be about this bike either, if you guys have anything.
What's on the agenda for the rest of the day?
So if you have one with a hydraulic,
Yeah.
There you go.
well, they must make an extension for that too? Or?
Oh yeah, you extend the whole line. And that was your hydraulic clutch underneath here. You just to suck it dry, you got a little bleeder underneath the cover.
There you go.
What year's the bike?
18.
18. You're gonna have to loosen the exhaust a little bit to get that off. It's pretty tight. What I do for them, I'll loosen that bottom exhaust nut flange nut on that one. The bottom on this one, you got a nut there, then the two slip-on ones, I'll take them right off of there. If you put like a little pry-by here, you just crank, you pull it out a little bit, and get that cover off. Without taking the whole exhaust off. Makes it a little easier.
Good. Bill, thank you. I appreciate it though.
I'm gonna spend half my time out back there.
I've got a couple of those. Say hello. Yeah. You learning?
Do these clutch cable extensions.
Hi, Michael. Hi.
I like doing the, I do a complete adjustment.
JD. Why? Yeah, recycle.
I just actually.
I don't, that's the only one I have. No one else. Tell me about it. I don't, it's on top of my mom. I don't.
You going to the ladder? The gift certificate's in the car. I got a gift certificate to the ladder. Just don't drink it all. Maybe.
Yours would be a little bit different. Because you don't have no adjustment there. It's hydraulic. The only reason you'd have to take this out, you can't do it. No, I don't agree with them. I wouldn't agree with them. No? No. Because that compensator is doing a job. You get that, you eliminate that compensator and just put that one gear, you're putting a lot of stress. That's for racing. You know what I mean? You're putting a lot of extra stress on the lead. We used to update them to the
just doing bars.
They started coming in like.
That's only because they're have to put extensions.
Yeah. It's a pretty good setup.
But if you did 12, you wouldn't have to do that.
So I backed that off.
Yeah. Sure.
Right, not done too many of these. So the extension kit is right here. Another piece here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take the plastic, this part off first.
Yeah.
This can be a little bit tricky. There's a little tab. A little tab right here. Kind of bend up. There's a little tab in there. Bend it up. And then you can pop this little ball out of there. And this is just 21. Pop that out. Pull it up. I'm just gonna get this piece out there, which I'll just take off the tabs too. You can tell. Softails, the new Softails with 18 and above, they have these. but they didn't go on the touring bikes until last year. In fact, I'll just bend that tab right now.
Do you want these over here on the table?
I'll take them. Thank you very much. Pop that out. Pop this off. Take this. That down there. Extension. This guy here. I believe 3/8 and 7/16.
She's still getting around.
That sits on top of the ball.
You just gap, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
but originally you had said moving this.
I'm sorry if I
just want you
confused
to know.
the.
So I just wanted to see what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Now we're fun.
Pushing that in there.
Okay, so this shows that you define public and private.
Getting this to tab up to that. So if I swear, don't take offense.
So you go ahead. I just want to see.
But I don't think you and I have that.
No.
No, this is only if you got a 21.
So ours would probably be a whole new cable.
Yes, sir. Yep. Oh.
Great, that's
Here, I'm trying to make. You just bend that tab out. Yeah. That was way too easy. Right there. That was pretty easy. So we'll put that on the other side.
Everything's just going slick.
Way too easy. Now that I got the crush washers, I'm gonna put this on there so we don't forget that. This. For aesthetic purposes and going back on with the fairing, I was like bringing it kind of not on this side here so you don't see so much from where you're sitting. I'm just going to put this on loose. Like I said, I've never put one of these kits, this brake line on, so I want to see how, once I start zip tying everything, see where that'll go.
it seems like it's an awful long extension for
I think it's a lot of it's a time saver. Because I would have to run a line from here all the way back to underneath the side.
If you ever need me to move, just let me know. Get out of your way.
Probably do something like that. Maybe even bring it here. Kind of like just as long as I don't kink the line. But I'm gonna mess with that after I get everything else on here. So far, this is smooth.
How are you folks today?
I think we can do another one next week, and I'll bring mine in just to make sure.
Donate it. Donate it to the.
I'll pay for all the parts.
Yeah. Wow, tires. Not a bad idea.
Do you want to follow me if I can ready for you?
Sorry, I'm with that.
You have a phone in the back shoulder.
with super glue, there's no stopping.
If that was on a kickstand, you put the cover off, would it leak oil?
No, not this one because you got the lip. I don't believe it will. I've changed derby covers in the parking lot and they usually don't. The older style without that big lip right there, it would.
I think they will. That was our next bigger.
You did. You saved that? So we have to go get that. Yeah, no, we went over all of that. We'll talk about what the new options were. Cool.
Doing good work, Trevor.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're applying just about everything I've shown you.
Pineapple.
Pineapple. Yeah. What do you need?
These are different too than the older style. These are actually spring assist. You see that little spring in there? It locks into the switch housing. Those can be fun if you're switching levers to pop that back in. You just got to get that lined up in there and then push it in.
Bessie.
Oh, yeah. Then I was right on the outside of the Carolina. What is that? Oh, Carolina. That makes sense. Is that Reassembling?
Probably there. I think the main.
With the twist grip sensor on this side, you always want that little bit of end play because if see how that moves just a little bit back and forth. If you don't have that and it's too tight, it could bind. It'll get stuck on. So you always just want to have that just that little bit. You don't want too much end play because then it'll slip. You know, you go to give it grip and there won't be nothing there. But just that little bit there. So what I do is I slide it all the way on, and then I'll just back it off, back this whole unit off just so I get that little bit. And this will just maybe get everything straight. Tighten everything and we'll set the clutch.
You put it on already?
Always make sure that snaps back. Even throttle, even like a throttle cables, they automatically, the grip does that a little bit.
Yeah, I see position like that. You have to have someone else buy it and put it on for you.
The key on your bike though, doing your bike, when you go to take your Brake lever off. Anytime you take anything off the side of your brake lever, take a little piece of cardboard, shove it up inside here, so that's out a little bit. So when you go back together, you don't break your brake light switch. Because the inside of the lever will catch the end of the switch, then when you go to give it brake, you'll hear a snap, and then your brake light will be stuck on. So you always pack that out a little bit.
Before you take it off.
Yeah, before you go on. I always do it before I take it off. Just to, just so I know it's done. A little, piece of cardboard, a little piece of rubber, just enough to pop it out a little bit. So when you go back on it, because it's just a little nipple at the end of that thing, and that'll catch it. People go on like that, then as soon as you give it a break, it's the worst sound in the world. Because then you're like, oh. Then you got to solder a whole new switch in there. It's kind of a pain in the neck. But if you do that, it'll be fine.
Thank you.
Any 13 and older, any bike, any model. Okay. What's nice about the extension kits too, you can use all the stock routing. I like this piece here. It keeps the flux cable wherever it's supposed to be. Okay. Good time, make sure nothing's in the binds.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like it. Keeps it where it's supposed to be. Helps a lot when you put the fairing back on. And the clutch really is down there is no different than the pre-hydraulic clutch for 13s and older. It's seat it and then half to full turn out. What's up?
Yeah. Great.
With these new self-adjusting, you just pop that tab back out. That little red tab, pop it back out. Yeah. Then this will, it's hard because there's extensions. I can't get that stuff out. Just push that up a little bit and give that a little nudge up. It's only going to let you pull up a little bit anyway, and it won't walk back if you don't. You go too much. You should be good. Slide down.
Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Start building today.
It doesn't take much adjustment to make a difference, right?
No, that should set it itself. When you pull that tab out of there and it extends, that's setting what it should be. As long as you have that adjusted down there, right? That's cool. Well, that's done. That's just what. Put the extensions. Any questions up to now?
No.
Said hydraulic, you'd be replacing the line. And pre-13, you'd be just extending the cable. So this probably.
Figured out the staggered variety.
It was, yeah. Before I do that, though, zip tie there, yeah.
Thank you for all your help. I appreciate it.
Actually, if you want to see the fairing go back on, I'll do that afterwards. We're way ahead of time than I thought we would.
I was gonna ask you if you were gonna.
Yeah, I will. I wasn't going to, but I will because we're way ahead of. We're way ahead of time.
You're under
So good?
I'd like to
You're
see
under
how
2
that.
hours still.
Yeah.
It's only
Now they're going to expect me to do it faster.
Yourself.
Part of it was the bars though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty easy going.
Really? Charlie.
Would you allow yourself 2 hours? Or 3?
If we were extending like all the lines back there, this would be close to a 12-hour job because
12
that's
hours?
really labor intensive. Bringing all the, but this, I think this kit, having that extension there and then having this saves you all the time. You don't even have to pull this. I pulled the tank back a little bit just to get this fairing part out, the lower. Any other set of bars, you'd have to pull the tank, bring it around, and be running lines back and forth.
How long did it take you to take the fairing off?
15 minutes, maybe? Maybe not.
But this is a road glide, right?
The street
Street
light.
glide.
It's a street glide.
Road glide be a little more because I think these are easier because I get the fairing completely off. Road glide, you can only take the console off and you're kind of in there like that. The connector's back.
Okay.
You got it.
Fire in the hole.
Good?
See?
There we go. So it wasn't the connector, I mean the pin.
One less tight button.
So, ballpark, it's like 1900.
Cool. That's those connectors. Now we'll put this. Took my picture last night.
Do you have any other questions about the lighting? No, you'll do great. I have 0 reservations for it. 0.
Those sound awesome, right? Oh.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, okay, absolutely. I can take your Hondo. I'll give you your key. All right. Let me do that.
I see we're taking a picture of that board.
Yeah, it just makes it easier.
Right.
Used to be you had to write. I used to write on the work order 1 through 6 or whatever and put the colors.
Yep.
So is the
Pictures are worth 1,000.
Oh yeah.
Why not, right?
You go through my pictures. It's either pictures of my bike, my dog, or connectors.
I don't think so.
That'll be great. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to see you.
There. Just bring these out here, make sure all my connectors are good, that's on. That's good. It's clear. We'll tighten this. You need some bigger zip ties to get everything tied back to where it's supposed to be. I really think I could even run that. Kind of like following it.
That's probably going to be nasty.
And that's just a trial and error thing, right? As long as it's not kinked.
As long as it's not kinked, yeah. I'm thinking like right about there, probably.
And you got your radio and everything else though.
Yeah, that'll slip. You'll be amazed how easy this goes on and off. I love the new fairing. Okay, I'm just gonna grab some bigger zip ties so I can tie everything to there, and then I'll grab the fairing.
Okay.
And then we'll put the fairing back on. Actually, I'll grab that. So yeah.
Rest of it from me?
Congratulations, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna put the fairing on now. I just always make sure that everything's kind of ran forward. I think that's gonna be all right. Let's see if I can probably bring that over once I get the fairing on.
What's the difference between this and the 12? Taking the fairing.
He's like, why are you so stupid?
A 12, it's a little more. You got fairing brackets on the inside. You got to kind of bend them out a little bit. It's not as and you got a lot more to unplug. It's not as simple as it's just a little more time.
Right, but it still comes off as similar.
Similar, yeah. Like this one, it just kind of boom, lock, and then it push forward and it locks itself in.
Oh, okay.
Your style is going to be more of a get the stereo out of it, get that stuff, get everything unplugged, and then you got to kind of pop it around
because actually my stereo is all connected like this now.
Oh, so you don't even have to take the stereo out?
No, I don't believe I have to.
Very cool. It probably if it's this style, it probably come off just as easy.
I didn't do the stereo, so.
I like pulling the tank back a little bit to put the lower fairing part, which another thing I'm gonna have to go grab, put here because it's really tight to get in there, and it avoids scratching. So I just pull it back just a little bit so I don't scratch nothing. Any other questions? You don't have to be about this thing.
Yeah. No, I will.
They didn't take the seat off to clean it, did they?
Nope.
Question.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Did you build that yourself?
No.
Or get it? Yes. It
was
Or did you get it basically as fiberglass shell and do it all yourself?
Yes, it came with the mounting hardware, and then it was just an unpainted shell. I had to figure out if I was going with a non-LED headlight, it came with those mounting, but I converted it to the LED, painted and stuff like that. It was fun.
Yeah. Was that Russ? Is it Russ?
What's that?
Russ.
No, mine's JD Custom. Yep.
You've had that on there for quite a few years now.
4 years probably.
Was that a good winter project?
Yes, to get everything. When I had it mounted, it was off just a little bit, and it drove me nuts. So just getting the amount of washers, there's 22 washers on each side to get it so it was straight. As you see it across my bar.
Aaron said it's gonna go upstairs.
I must have not given power my extension. I'll be right back. One more thing.
We'll work on it.
These quick disconnects. This one being brand new. Before you unplug these, make sure it spins. Make sure it spins nice. If they haven't been unplugged in a long time, they won't spin. Even take like a set of pliers or something and just rock it back and forth. And if it feels really grindy and it still won't come apart well, spray something up in there, some type of solvent, just to try to get any dirt or anything. Because going back on it'd be a lot easier. And if you can't, if you go back on and it leaks a little bit, what I do when I go back on them, I'll put that on there, make sure it spins, and then I'll turn it on and hit the fuel pump and make sure that that's not leaking. If that O-ring rolls or anything like that in there, it'll squirt everywhere. Or you might see how that's just residual from what was in there, but you'll see that'll seep out a little bit. It's just good. It helps it because it just gets grindy and stuff in there. The problem is if you cut that O-ring that's up inside there, you have to replace this whole unit. You can't just get the O-rings. You have to replace the whole unit.
There goes the fuel mileage.
Yep.
But it's just, I always make sure that that spins good. If they haven't been unplugged for a long time, you know, they'll get dirt or something up in there. 2 ways of doing this. I personally, I always just take this like this, pick it right up and spin it.
Yeah.
Just it gets everything away from there. You can bring it back a few inches or just get this right out of the way. If you were doing bars that had to, these are the lines I was talking about, all your brake lines, each one of these separate one, 2, and then the one that goes up to here, you'd have to replace all these if that wasn't in the kit. And of course your clutch cable if it was hydraulic. So doing a job like this, I always just take it around. Even in motor work, this is how I do it too. It's easier, you got everything right there. If you have a crossover, which yours would have the crossover on a 13, I just pinch off one side and I plug the other side. So you don't have to drain the whole thing. But this here, I like keeping that all the way so I don't scratch it. So, plug this in. You know what? Keep that right. Jump the gun. So this, what you're trying to do is you bring these onto here, and then I push forward, then I just rock it, and the bottom ones will lock into there. The only thing you really got to watch out for is pinching these.
Why you have this on top of the radio?
So you just.
No. I just did the outer parent.
Simple and easy. Get those channels. Just like that. Push forward. We don't have a brake on with that. And once it gets to the other part, just push forward like that. Slide right down. Unless something's stopping it with the brake on. Just like that. I think that brake line is really pushing against me.
It's so serious.
Huh?
Pop right
It's
They
so
did,
serious.
didn't they? I have to redo that.
That's work for my antenna.
Simple and easy if you don't have that brake line. If I just tie it down. I'll just tie it right there for now.
Zip ties are your friend.
I wish I invented zip ties.
Yeah.
So I've never put this brake line on. Good.
That's simple.
Now with the bars, this is a good time to make sure that you're not hitting. Looks like, you know, you got plenty of space on both sides. Make sure that these aren't jammed up there, you know, nothing's pinched. That's good. So now, I'll put tape on there too. Protects you.
Yeah, but they actually, and the year before it was in Connecticut.
I'll get these started just to make sure that everything's not working. That's what's stopping it. Bars gonna go back a little bit. It's hitting on the speaker. Close still.
Close is good.
Close is good. Yeah. Yep, there we go. That's what it was. It's hitting that fan.
Must be your arms grew last night.
Cool.
Okay.
Much easier. I remember when you used to have to use templates and like putting like say racks on a, you know, a tour pipe, but now the new ones it has the spot, so it actually has where you drill the holes. You just center punch it right there.
Nice. We do it on a coat, it doesn't get any better than that.
But they take up so much room in your bag.
Sirius XM actually slides right in here.
Yep.
You take this out and you get a new one. It slides right in there. Then you get a new antenna. This actually has Sirius. You get this little antenna there. They tell you if you do install that on yours, they say to put it down through here.
No.
We've had way better luck putting them right here. You get better reception.
I did that last year and I had it down below and It's fine if you're facing the satellite,
right?
But if you're going any other direction, you won't get any.
Yeah, it's better just to put it right out here.
Yep.
Okay, everything's plugged back in. Put the bottom screws in there.
It's a lot cheaper than no radio that has it.
My car, every time I go and get it serviced, they give me free XM. But I only get like an oil change like once a year because I only drive back and forth to work.
Yep.
24 miles a day. It's nice though. They always give me free XM every time.
I need to stop.
Going back on with these two, like the main thing is try not to pinch these. So I always make sure they move. I have seen those before.
Happy New Year. Always good, thank you.
If you had good cell coverage in this state, you could get the app for your phone. But half the time you don't have cell coverage.
I use Apple Music a lot.
Yep.
Speakers at your bike. Yeah. I had like 110 miles on it. A blue speaker.
Really?
Oh yeah, once I crackled with some of that. Worst part, they didn't even have my phone turned up. I should put Oxford in. That sounds a lot better. Or not listen to Five Finger Death Punch with bass all the way up.
No.
That would be any fun.
Rockford.
Yeah, those Rockford kits are amazing.
Even just the Farron speakers like on the street light is wicked.
I'm not starting to put that in, so.
He is.
It's actually not that hard. I did an amp and speakers on mine. It's not that hard.
You gotta run a wiring harness back from the Rockford, don't you? To put the amp in this.
If it's the Harley one, the amp goes in your saddlebags. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. You drill the holes, and it's not too bad. I just put one in the non-Harley kit's a little more. That one had an amp. That was in a Road Glide, a 13 Road Glide. The amp went underneath here. We actually changed this to a Rockford stereo too. I put speakers here, speakers in his lowers, saddlebag speakers. That was something, because I'd never done one of those, so I had to kind of build a little bit of a harness, to make it work. But that thing sounded good too. I mean, it sounded really good.
It might flip around.
That's where the brains went. They went great. My pipes are so loud that I don't even know what my radio sounds like.
That sounds like me.
It's the only way to have it.
People ask me what I listen to. I said, they have radios?
Big soft. Need to be ground too.
After 70, you can't hear the radio anyway.
Yeah, those Rockfords you can. Ooh.
I came with mine. Actually, people behind me can hear my radio.
Yeah. Well, the people behind me can hear mine. I just can't hear it.
Yeah, I actually took a boom audio out of a bike the other day and put a Rockford in it. It was a huge difference. The Harley Rock. Okay, that's pretty much the fairing. Now I'll tighten everything. I put everything on loose, even this one, just to make sure everything lines up. And this is a good time too. You can see if your fairing's crooked. I always go by the space that's in between here. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that's right on. It's good.
Still doing okay, Trevor?
Yes, sir.
Don't need me yet?
Welcome. Warming up anything out there? A little bit.
He's a master of his craft, ain't he?
Oh, about 15 minutes ago, though, you were scoring. You didn't wasn't really there.
Nothing these guys haven't heard before.
Nope. You rattled that one out today. Happy New Year to you.
I have seen it when you go to put this, sometimes the bars, the way they're offset, you have to trim this little lower piece a little bit for it to go back on. If the screws don't line up, if you go dry grinder and take a little bit. But you don't see that. That was more when this style fairing came out. A lot of people have changed their stuff since then, so you don't see that too often anymore. Nice. And this is a good time to check and make sure all your lights, your switches, everything's plugged in right before you put the outer fairing on. Swing this back around. One of these bags are emissions in. Oh, I'll show to take these off? Yeah. Let me put it on and I'll show you. Okay, to take these off, underneath here, there's a tab right there. So you put your key in, push that tab up, then you can turn the key farther and it pops right up.
Oh.
Because all that's holding it on is there's a little tab right there.
Oh, okay.
Going back on, now you want to make sure that it's lined up, because if not, you need a special tool to get everything.
Congratulations, dude.
The old days you could use a screwdriver and it would work, but now you need a tool that goes in there.
Extra security.
Yeah.
Pull that right out.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a rod that goes down with slots in it, and you just turn it until everything lines back up. I think it's like maybe 2002 and below or something like that. You could do it with a screwdriver.
Cool. Yes. Yeah. Let me grab my laptop. Oh, there you go.
Where's the bottom? It's plugged in. See, something to do
Oh, yeah. Everything.
That'll do it. I don't completely backwards.
Yeah, didn't take enough pictures.
You were looking at the picture upside down.
That's right. That's right. I need you guys to come in on Saturdays for moral support. I'm back.
I'm available from December 15th to April 1st.
Right.
We'll be your emotional support animal.
There we go.
Also doesn't help having people watch you.
No, it don't bother me. It gives me company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I put them back together, I had the connector upside down.
Ah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's always good to see you guys. Yeah.
You don't hear the fuel pump kick on, then it's...
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Nice.
Very well said, buddy. I do Saturdays and Thursdays typically, but yeah. Same color class, you just set up selecting as that. That color was yeah, it looks really good and the pinstriping is smooth. And then other than that, so with the they outlined
Parts
That-
closed.
3 o'clock. Yes, sir.
Don't worry.
Sweet.
On a CBO, they had scored strong. Yeah, on a CBO, on these, what was it?
Remember I said the black and the white? That was the one. I had to swap. That's it besides bleeding the brakes and putting the fairing back on. I mean the outer fairing back on. Which that's pretty easy. They just snap back on 2 bolts and then the bolts across the top. But everything went pretty smooth. I'm happy with that. Just have to bleed the brakes, which I'll have to do on that because I don't know air.